Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the series. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. It's the coast with the most from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. 2A views, conservative news, and Craig, thank God it's Monday.
Hey, stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image of me that you're used to. I look money, a king bee making honey, see? Deep state, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round, I'm the new sheriff in town. All my people rise up and stand your ground. Now drink up all the Diet Coke you got on your shelf. So just let me introduce myself, my name is Trump D. I like my mashed potatoes lumpy. Fake news, oh how I like to punk thee. That little sniper on the slope tin, he took a shot but he missed me. I don't fall, y'all, I'm like the ever-ready bunny. Still going strong and spunky. So put on your big boy pants. Come on, let's do the dance.
The Trumpy dance is your chance to do the Trump.
Come on, do the Trumpy Trump. Come on and do the Trumpy Trump. Check me out, y'all. We do the Trumpy Trump. Just watch me do the Trumpy Trump. Yeah. Do you know what I'm doing? We do the Trumpy Trump. Come on, everybody do the Trumpy Trump. It's time to do the Trumpy Trump. Yeah.
Wow, it is already Monday. I can't believe the weekend went by that fast.
Like that, baby. Gone.
Gone. Just like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend, but it was also a lot of work, man. A lot of honeydews this weekend for me.
Yeah. Well, hey, you gotta do them every once in a while. You gotta keep the peace, you know.
Gotta keep the peace. How are you? How about you? How was your weekend?
Not too bad. Show on Arms Room Radio there on Saturday. I saw you were listening live, making comments. And then Sunday, actually did a day trip up to Long Island, up to New York.
Very nice. Very nice. By the way, as I noted to you in the comment I sent to you, I went back and I watched not this past, but the week before that.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are always good. Don't get me wrong. But you were in rare form the week before last.
It was a entertaining show. We'll just say that. It was entertaining.
Entertaining and informative.
Yeah. Listen, you have no idea how hard it is to stop yourself from going to that other side of comedy, that FCC violation side. Let's say that.
Oh, it's too easy. It is entirely too easy. It's one of the benefits of doing this show is that whatever limits we put on ourselves is because, well, we're just trying to be nice and polite. But yeah, when you're doing live radio,
yeah,
those FCC rules are a pain in the patootie.
They can be. They sure can. Yeah. But
well, you guys definitely stayed within it, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, we are. Yeah, absolutely. We get it. We get it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, hey, let's see if we can cause some trouble then, some havoc and destruction here in this show, since we are only on the webosphere. Let's start off though the way we usually do, and that is with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yep. Let's say hi to our good friends over at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there, get yourself some AR barrels. They got rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in it, tactical concealed holsters on the market, get on over to hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, personal gear, whatever it may be, get your group together, get your agency together, place an order at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun.
Also want to remind you, we were talking about it a little bit at the beginning of the show, Arms Room Radio every Saturday, Saturday. They have interviews. They have all, as they like to say, all things gun, all the gun time. Check them out. 25 stations across the country and on the Webernets. Good stuff. Also want to remind you, if you haven't already done so, please take a moment, subscribe to the 2A newsletter. Just go to 2anews.us, hit that subscribe here button, and you will get all of your Second Amendment news delivered to your inbox on the daily. Go there now, become a subscriber.
Come on down.
Come on down. Also wanted to remind you guys, if you're watching the show during the 3 o'clock hour on the West Coast or the 6 o'clock hour on the East Coast, then, well, let's just put it this way. You're watching us live, which means we're taking your comments. We would love to hear what you have to say, what you think about the program, what you think about Mike, what you think about me, what you think about, well, how shall we say, our thoughts on the various topics. Now, the best way to get your comment read is if you disagree with us, because if you disagree with us, well, then that gives us an opportunity to mock you.
Oh, wow. Is that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
Yeah.
It'd be
Mock
like
you,
that.
baby. Mock you.
Mock you. It be like that. That's how we be doing it, like that. Anyway. Okay, this first story here, this is coming to you from our friends over at the Washington Free Beacon. We all know that the New York Times is liberal propaganda. There's very little in there, at least in either the cultural or the political sense, that is actual news. 99.9% of the time, they're pushing propaganda. And, well, let's just say that it's one of their biggest areas of propaganda has to do with the term or the phrase Islamophobia. This, once again, a piece written or put together by the folks over at the Washington Free Beacon. The New York Times is weaponizing Islamophobia. The FBI says there are 7 times as many anti-Jewish as anti-Muslim hate crimes, yet the New York Times is stoking panic. Let's read here. It says, anti-Jewish hate crimes outnumber anti-Muslim hate crimes about 7-1, according to FBI crime statistics. Yet, the New York Times is offering its readers a different view of the relative seriousness of the issues. The newspaper, which the Israeli government says, quote, consistently demonizes and delegitimizes the Jewish state, and publishes false blood libels against the state of Israel, end quote, has escalated its coverage of supposed anti-Muslim bias to a point that by some measures and at some times, the volume exceeds or roughly equals Times coverage of anti-Jewish bias. Critics accuse the Trump administration and supporters of Israel of, quote, weaponizing anti-Semitism, end quote, a frequently groundless charge that is shorthand for the assertion that anti-Semitism complaint is being used to silence criticism of Israel and also as a pretext for the authoritarian crackdown. Yet, some of the Times' coverage seems to engage in, to borrow the phrase, weaponizing Islamophobia, using the hate label in an attempt to silence criticism of Islamist extremism, Muslim-dominated countries, or their support for terrorism. Now, Mike, I'll be honest with you, I don't read the New York Times. And the reason why I don't read the New York Times is because they charge you, and I refuse to give the New York Times any of my money. But articles that I have seen from the New York Times pretty much consistently fall within this realm of literally any criticism. Anytime I see or hear anything about the New York Times, I never hear them talk about anti-Semitism unless they can point to a conservative who they can label as an anti-Semite, or a liberal is accusing a conservative or a conservative venue of being anti-Semitic. But I'm 9 times out of 10 though, it's all about Islamophobia.
Oh yeah, listen, it's New York Times is just misleading, fear-mongering liberal trash at this point. That's all it is. I refuse to pay for it. Anything behind the paywall, and you and I both know you can couple settings changes in your browser, and you can get behind their paywall and take a look at it. But not worth my time or effort to do it on a regular basis.
Well, exactly, and the funny part is, Mike, is that they think they are actually good journalists, right? Like like all the time, I do a lot of stuff with the Associated Press, and it is hilarious to me because even the Associated Press, same exact thing. They think they're unbiased news. And I'm like, maybe you need to go outside, get away from the internet, go out and touch some grass. Maybe you need to spend some time in middle America and realize just how out of touch a lot of these folks in the mainstream media actually are with what's really going on in the world and what people in the world really think.
Listen, they are the modern, National Enquirer. It's nothing but far-fetched lies to get for clickbait. But National Enquirer used to pull it off the rack at the grocery store because you're like, oh my god, that's outrageous. I have to read that. I mean, that's all they are. That's all they are in the digital world of clickbait. Yeah.
Yeah. Straight up clickbait. But once again, there are a lot of policymakers. There are a lot of academics who consider them the gold standard for journalism.
Yeah, and it's going to take a generation, right, to move it through. All those that remember the New York Times actually being a credible source, for them to fade away and not be reading it anymore, and the rest of us out here going, what are we doing? Why are we even looking at this?
Why are we even bothering? And
Yeah.
But once again, that's why the people at these leading institutions and why these policymakers are more and more in blue states. They're more and more they're no longer taken seriously by anybody who is interested in real serious public policy. But the thing that's most insidious about this is that it's literally they are trying to mainline anti-Semitism and trying to make any legitimate criticism of Islam or Muslims. They're trying to just trying to sweep that all under the rug. That if you say it, you're Islamophobic. And I've yet to see anybody from Islam actually, or anybody who is Muslim or anybody who's defending the Islamic faith, deal with some of the very serious contentions about the fundamental beliefs of Islam and how they are contradictory to Judeo-Christian values, and in particular, those values that are core to who we are as American.
Yeah, and so I think maybe a lot of Islamic folks or Muslim folks are not reading it either because they're not going behind the paywall either. You want us to read it? Post it for free. I'm not paying for your junk.
Yes, there you go. Not going to do it. And I don't know. Somebody's got to be paying for this stuff. I have no idea who, because I don't know. Well, let me clarify. I do know a bunch of people who take the New York Times seriously, and sadly, I don't take them very seriously.
Well, that's it. As soon as they say they take the New York Times seriously, you just, well, all right, time for me to move on, and you walk away.
Yeah. Now, when you get away from like political or some of this cultural stuff, the reporting does actually get pretty good. Once again, it's the political and cultural things where they are completely and utterly left leaning, but they do have some good investigative journalism in other places.
Listen, they're in New York, the biggest market in the world. I think we can agree upon that. Should be the capital of the new time zones that I've presented to you. But no sports coverage and no comics. I'm moving on. You got nothing for me.
They have no sports coverage in the New York Times?
Nope.
Oh, nope. Done. And you expect people to pay for that?
I know.
Nah.
Right? Yeah, maybe it was in paper form so I could put it in a bird cage, but that's about it. Yeah,
but it's not worth the paper it's written on.
It gives the birds constipation. They don't even want to poop on it.
They won't give a poop.
That's it.
Oh, speaking of not giving a poop. All right, you guys have heard of this. Newsom signed the Stop Nick Shirley Act. That's right. It's called we call it the Stop Nick Shirley Act, but really it's a bill that basically makes it very, very difficult for people to expose basically when taxpayers are getting ripped off in this particular case. And here I'll read a little bit about it for you. This is coming from the California Globe. It says here, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed the Stop Nick Shirley Act, Assembly Bill 2624, by Assemblywoman Mia Bonta, a Democrat from Oakland, into law Saturday, August 22nd. Bonta claims her bill is about privacy for immigration support services providers. Governor Newsom, 2 days ago, screeched on X about unfair acts on the free press. Quote, this is from him, "A free press cannot function under constant threats and retaliation from the government. Reporters must be free to hold those in power accountable without fear of retribution. The assault on the free press must end." And then he signed the Stop Nick Shirley Act into law. Republicans nicknamed the bill the Stop Nick Shirley Act for independent YouTuber and citizen journalist Nick Shirley after he exposed Somali daycare fraud in Minnesota. Bonta, wife of California's Attorney General Rob Bonta, claims it does not fine or jail journalists simply for uncovering Democrat fraud. However, her bill will fine citizen journalists a minimum of $4,000 for exposing fraud inside immigration support service providers, illegal services to illegal aliens. Bonta's bill would impose a huge civil sanctions on independent investigative reporters for harassing what Bonta calls immigrant services workers who, in fact, are providing taxpayer-funded goods and services to illegal aliens. It is designed to use as a weapon to intimidate and punish journalists who dissent from mainstream views. AB 2624 is reminiscent of AB 2098 from October 2022 when Governor Newsom signed a bill to censor California doctors accused of spreading COVID misinformation for COVID. Assembly Bill 2098 put unconstitutional restrictions on speech by medical professionals and subjected them to disciplinary actions by the Medical Board of California if they did not adhere to the approved COVID treatment consensus. Even before 2098 went into effect, it was already used as a weapon to intimidate and punish doctors who dissented from mainstream views. However, the bill was ultimately ruled unconstitutional, and the governor and COVID experts were defeated over the law and punished doctors for COVID misinformation. So in other words, what they're saying is, if you reveal that some of these providers, like for example, what he would do is he would say, okay, well, these people are providing home health services, right? Yet this is their office. There's like 90 other home health services in this building. And oh, by the way, they don't go provide any home health services. This is a daycare, right? At this daycare, you see, here's the daycare. You go inside of the daycare and there's no kids in the daycare, yet they're collecting millions of dollars to provide daycare. Well, merely showing that, merely putting that stuff on the internet, well, that then makes you eligible for this, quote unquote. They're calling it a civil fine, and I'm guessing the reason why they're calling it a civil fine is because then you don't get an attorney a free attorney to represent you if you can't afford an attorney.
Yeah, and because if they had made it criminal, it wouldn't have stood up to constitutional muster at all. It's being a First Amendment privilege, right? First off, Craig, I mean, I don't know how you guys even, take this woman seriously. She's the like you said, the wife of the Attorney General. She holds the exact same office that he held, running nothing on but name recognition. I bet the signs were the same when it's time for her election as when he was getting elected there in the state assembly. When you want to find the definition of tyranny, go there, and the first thing you look at is the suppression of the First Amendment, right? And that's exactly what your state's doing. Nick Shirley's got a way, whether you agree with him or not, of exposing criminal acts by government and fraud, waste, and abuse. And he's very good at it and embarrasses people all the time. And yet in California, they won't let you do it anymore because they don't want to be exposed.
Well, yeah, he's not the smoothest talker. He's not the smoothest talker. He doesn't necessarily present it always the best, but it's the digging that he does. It's the investigation that he's really good at. Once again, being able to do the research, to identify these places. And the sad part is, and the reason why the media hates him is because he's basically doing their jobs, right? They have the resources to do this. They have the resources to dig all this stuff up. And here's the reason why, by the way, the government hates him, because it's their job to reveal this stuff. Because not only are these people providing services that they should not be providing, in many cases, they're not providing any services. They're just collecting government checks.
Yeah, listen, half the time you see a video of some politician or some political employee, in a restaurant or in a bar spouting off on the evil that they have done and how they've, beat the system or cheated people. It's coming from Nick Shirley.
Yeah. And anyway, it's this sort of stuff. It's these sort of guys and that are letting you know just how big the problem is, how much more attention we all need to be paying to it. And here's the thing: if we were paying more attention to it, the media would have to report on it because they would know that we are watching.
Yep.
How dirty is it though, man?
that
They decide they're going to go after a guy. They're going to institute a bill to stop the guy who's, revealing the fact that they're not doing their jobs and that they're just allowing their friends, because that's who runs these NGOs, their friends, to basically steal taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, it's not dirty, Craig. It's tyranny, and I'm sure even though it's a civil issue, they'll be found unconstitutional shortly.
I definitely believe so. Definitely believe so. Would happen to agree with you on that. All right, now this next story, I'm going to point something out to you here, and this is the reason why I want to point this out. They're talking about Turner Outdoors is a top source of crime guns in California's biggest cities. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of things. Number one, this was written by Aaron Mendelson from The Trace. Now, if you know Aaron Mendelson has been an anti-gun activist forever. Since I first got into the game. The other thing about is that it's done for The Trace, which is a propaganda rag for the anti-gun community. And yet you have it written as not as an opinion piece, but as a news article for this one nonprofit that calls themselves a non-biased, entity, which is Cal Matters. But let's just put it this way: it's anything else but. So I don't know how much to trust what is in this particular report. But I wanted you guys to hear this because once again, they're going after and they're trying to blame firearms retailers for gun crimes. Let me read a little bit of this for you. Turner's Outdoorsman on Mohawk Street in Bakersfield, California, sits on a busy intersection across from an oil drilling site. Over the past 3 years, this sporting goods store sold more than 16,000 firearms, and also appeared hundreds of times during criminal investigations as the source of guns found at crime scenes. In Bakersfield alone, law enforcement traced 83 guns to the store from 2023 to 2025, according to newly released data from the California Department of Justice. That was the highest number for a store with an active firearms dealer license in any state's 10 most populous cities. The Trace reported in May that Turner's Outdoorsman chain, which has over 30 locations across California, accounted for a disproportionate share of crime guns recovered in the state. The State Department of Justice defines crime guns as those used in a crime, suspected to have been used in a crime, or illegally possessed. The latest data shows a new dimension, showing the number of crime guns traced to individual stores by law enforcement in the biggest cities. The Turners on Mohawk Street had been in operation since late 2020. The business that previously occupied the storefront, Second Amendment Sports, which is no longer an actively licensed dealer, had 100 sales traced to gun recoveries in Bakersfield. Altogether, that means 183 firearms sold at that location were later recovered by law enforcement as crime guns in the city during this 3-year window. That number is higher than the combined total of 5 dealers or any other city in the state, including Los Angeles, Oakland, or San Diego. Now, Mike, and I think there's another store, and I don't know who owns it, but I know back in the East Coast somewhere, I think it was Pittsburgh, that where they have been a source, not a source, that's the wrong term. A lot of guns that have been found at crime scenes have been originally traced back to the original purchase at that store. And they've tried for years to blame the firearms retailers, but you and I know that's all BS. Please explain why.
That would come under the heading of crap, is what it is. First off, let's be realistic about the numbers. This is it's the largest firearms hit from based on original sales location in California, right? You do the math, you're talking about less than 1%. You're talking about a 0.5%, Craig, 0.5% of what they've sold over the years. The only reason they have 83 total is because they're a successful large dealer that sells a lot of guns. And Craig, I guess maybe in California, what they're trying to say is that they just handguns over the counter. They don't do any background checks. They don't do any paperwork. Oh, wait, that's not true. California has you do 3 times as much paperwork and background checks as any other, civilized state out there, any conservative state. They go above and beyond because they've created all these extra stuff and extra hoops to jump through. So these people that are buying these guns legitimately are even more legitimate than they would be in, I don't know, say, Florida. They make them do 3 kinds of background checks, right? You got to do the federal background check. You got to get your state clearances. Now you got to do an ammo background check. So they got everything going on ridiculous over there. What happens, Craig, is people buy a lot of guns because they don't feel safe. All right. They live in an area where they don't feel safe at all. And guess what happens when you don't live in an area that's safe? You have crime. Guess some of the things that people steal. People steal guns. So you have legitimate people buying firearms and then criminals that steal guns. And when the criminals get caught with the gun, they want to blame the dealer. How about you blame the guy that stole the gun? How about we go there? How about we stop victim blaming? Oh, but it should be in a safe. How about I'm not held responsible for when a burglar breaks into my house? How about we go there? It's just such a roundabout way to try and blame somebody that's going through the extra steps of abiding by California law and gun sales.
Well, and here's the thing, Mike. They sell more guns in California than anybody else. They say that in the article. So let's see. If you sell more guns, disproportionately sell more guns, isn't it more likely that more of your guns are going to wind up? I mean, because everything else being equal, that means more of your guns are going to wind up at crime scenes.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. And listen, don't get us wrong. If you're a gun owner, you're a legitimate gun owner, you've legally purchased a firearm, you should take responsibility to secure that firearm. But again, Greg, if your gun gets stolen, you're not at fault. Right? You're not the victim. You're the victim. We need to stop victim blaming. Stop.
If someone steals your car and uses it in a drive-by, are you now an accessory to murder?
Yeah, nobody's going after the car dealer for selling the most cars that got stolen.
Right, exactly. Well, wait a minute. You sold the most cars in this town, and your cars seem to keep disproportionately, winding up at crime scenes. So, because 0.105% of your cars wound up at crime scenes, we're not gonna go after you and restrict your ability to sell cars. Yeah,
just another way to violate. You know what? This sounds like something Nick Shirley should be looking into in California.
Yeah, but like I said, what gets me about this is like, I'm sorry, but you're talking about. Here's the thing, man. Look, I get it. We talk about the news here. I don't consider myself to be a journalist, and even if I did say I was a journalist, I'm definitely not an unbiased journalist. I'm very realistic. I'm an opinion journalist, right? I listen to these folks and I'm like, so you're going to sit up here and you're going to pass something off, not as an opinion piece, but as a fact piece written by someone who is an activist, not just an activist, but an activist for an activist propaganda rag.
Yeah. Yeah. It's California. I mean, the rest of us around the country just look at you guys and go, it's California. I mean,
exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what's going on. Speaking of California, now this right here did not happen in California. This actually happened, WNBA, so might as well be traveling California. But Mr. Enes Kanter, a gentleman who is seeking to, a gentle lady who is now identifies as a female, is trying to get into the WNBA. Let's just say got into a bit of a tiff this past weekend at a WNBA game and wound up getting kicked out of the game. Here's what happened.
6-point basketball game. Chicago staying in it. Natasha Cloud. And right before the break, this was the scene inside Wintrust Arena after Natasha Cloud got that bucket. She wanted her voice heard. We have talked about the conversations surrounding the W. That is Enes Kanter in the building today. and he has voiced how he's felt about the situation. Natasha Cloud voicing her opinion as well. Cantor.
Okay, as noted here over at the Hill, that was Enes Kanter, Freedom being ejected from the WNBA game. It says here, former NBA player Enes Kanter Freedom was ejected Sunday from WNBA game between Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky after a verbal altercation with Chicago's Natasha Cloud. Late in the third quarter, Cloud approached Freedom, who was sitting courtside and wearing a shirt that read, woman, noun, adult, human, female. Video shows the Sky guard pointing and yelling at the former NBA player who was standing up with his arms outstretched, stretched out and shouting back. Security guard then escorted Freedom out of the arena. The Fever went on to win the game 113-90 to move to 25-14 on the season. Freedom, who last played for the Boston Celtics on the 2021-22 season, declared for the 2027 WNBA draft earlier this month. I'm trying to see here. Okay, I'm trying to see here. Here we go. It says here, the former NBA player told Fox that Cloud approached him after he celebrated Fever wing Sophie Cunningham making a three-pointer. I put my hands up to celebrate. Natasha came back and started screaming and yelling and said, Cunningham is not going to sleep with you. Freedom, who joined a small rally in support of Cunningham outside of the arena before the game. For a profile of her published ESPN. Oh, I don't need all that. But anyway, so what did he do that got him kicked out? What I don't understand is, what did he do where he deserved to get kicked out? They said he stepped on the court, but once again, I'm looking where he was at. He never stepped forward onto the court. Now, the court came all the way and was like where his seat was. I mean, at least the flooring. I don't know that he ever stepped onto the court. What did he do to deserve to get kicked out other than, point out what a woman is?
What did he do? Nothing, Craig. And you're right. This isn't a California story. This is actually I would call a New York story, because that's where the WNBA is headquartered out of. So we'll make this a New York story. We're going to blame Mandami for this. Craig, he's an 11-time All-Star. Let's say that, or excuse me, 11-year player with the NBA. So he's a graduated alumni. What is it? With 10 years, you get your full retirement or whatever it is. So he gets all special rights and privileges. In fact, before the game, he was invited onto and was on the main court during the national anthem. He was there as a VIP, as a graduated member of the NBA, and then he was off on the side. And when she scored, he put his arms up. Well, evidently, she thought that oh my God, he must be rooting against us or being evil to me. So they come over and they take him off. This could be another big one for the NBA to have to eat a whole big piece of crow to say what happened, because
right.
Because of who he was under video coverage the entire time, because he was there as an NBA VIP.
Right, and she's the one who brought attention to him.
Yep.
He didn't the camera was not on him till she went over to him.
Yep.
And then he stood up, and now you're gonna send over security and then escort him out. I can see if he had gotten onto the court, if he had walked out on the court, but I'm sorry, that explanation is not flying.
Nope, not at all. Absolutely not at all. And even if he had, let's say his toe touched the court, Craig, that incident started way before he was on the court, and they decided to throw him out before he even started walking towards to continue having a conversation with him. Now, I'm curious, Craig, since he's declared himself for the draft and identifies as a woman for the WNBA, does that make this a cat fight?
Who knows? It definitely could be perceived now as a hate crime against women. It's definitely gender bias.
Well, no, this would be woman against woman because he identifies as a woman, right?
Well, but they only threw out one of the women. So you know what? Right. It is a hate crime because he's trans. She's trans.
Oh, that's right. There you go.
Because she's trans, it is clearly a hate crime.
Hey, all I can say, Craig, is like we used to say when we were kids: let them settle it on the court, all right? Because she'll be playing. He'll be playing next year. Yeah, he's only like 35 or 36 years old.
Yeah.
He's not going to be, he's not like putting Magic Johnson out there at 70 or whatever the heck he is now.
Man, I'll tell you right now, you put Magic Johnson out there, he'd whoop up on a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, listen, yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, yeah. But only for like the first 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that'd be pretty much about it. That'd be pretty much about it. All right, folks, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word, and get your Hog Holster today on discount. All right, our parting shots today are also going to be brought to you by our good friends over at the Babylon Beef, fake news that you can trust. The first one here, you may have heard that the prince and the princess, Meghan Markle, is heading back to England, and England welcomes back Meghan Markle back with mandatory burqa. So they're going to make her wear a burqa from now on.
That's how it's going over there. That
is definitely the direction that they are headed. All right, how about this one? Congress assures the American people $40 trillion debt can be fixed by spending more money.
Yeah, that's the way Congress goes. We just need more of your money to spend more of your money.
Yes, that pretty much is how it works. Now you may have heard about the new tariffs against Canadian products. Well, Canada vows to retaliate against Trump with crippling moose tariff.
Yeah, now I won't be able to get that moose jelly I use on my sandwich every day.
Yeah, I just don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
All right, here's a good one. New data center built to handle influx of online rants against data centers.
You do the math. It's needed.
It is definitely needed. And then finally, Bruce Banner reveals his secret to becoming the Hulk is that he's always angry at the Jews.
It's a big deal in the superhero realm. Yeah.
Exactly. Can't be having them Jews.
Yeah.
I'm serious, and this is just the thing. I'm like, the level of I just never thought that I would see the level of hate that we see against one group the way we see against Jews right now. It's anti-Semitism is a real thing. It honestly is, and it's really frigging hateful.
Yeah, and I think, listen, anti-Semitism, as obviously we know this has been around for a very long time. I would just blame this on the social media and the internet. There's people out there that think they can say things now with no repercussions, without getting smacked in the face like they would. So it seems as though it's more prevalent because you got more idiots saying this stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, there was a time when I would look back and I used to say, I don't see how Nazi Germany could have come to be. And now I see this and I'm like, okay, now I'm not saying that I agree with it. I'm not saying that I agree with their logic, but it's clearly possible because you see stuff heading that direction now. And I still believe that right now, those people, their voices their voices being given too big a weight. I still believe they are a small minority. I just believe the biggest problem is the percentage of people out there that are saying that know it's wrong and aren't saying anything.
It's listen, the first thing they did in Nazi Germany, right, was pass their own version of a Nick Shirley Act. Then they took all the guns, and there you go.
There you go. All right, folks. Well, that now brings us to the end of our program. But before we go, we got one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there, get yourself some AR barrels. They also have a full line of non-AR rifle barrels, pistol barrels, and shotgun barrels. So get over there for all your barrel needs. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, EMS, personal gear, whatever it may be, get your group together, get your agency together, place an order at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun. And folks, please take a moment and visit our sponsors. All you have to do is follow the links in the description to this program. Go there, spend some money with them. Tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. That's going to be it for today's show. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. Till then, y'all have fun. Stay safe. We will see you mañana.